So the long-anticipated GOP debate in Ohio just took place a few days ago from the time we're recording this.
It was more of a symposium than an actual debate with how many candidates there were. Not much talking time for a lot of them. I feel like a lot of them got glossed over, but it was definitely fight night last night, so we're going to analyze each and every fight of the debate, the first primary.
So the candidates wasted no time at all getting into their first fight of the night, and early on, Trump and Rand Paul got into a little scuffle.
You can't say if another one of these...
This is what's wrong. I mean, This is what's wrong. He buys and sells politicians of all stripes. He's already...
Dr. Paul.
Hey, look, he's already hedging his bet on the Clintons, okay? So if he doesn't run as a Republican, maybe he supports Clinton or maybe runs as an independent.
Okay.
But I'd say that he's already hedging his bets because he's used to buying politicians.
Well, I've given him plenty of money.
So I thought it was pretty cool that Rand Paul immediately went after Trump right out of the gate and basically called him out for not being willing to support whoever the nominee is. He left the looming question of, will Donald Trump run as a third-party candidate and, definitely take votes away from whoever the Republican nominee is, basically handing the election to the Democrat nominee, probably Hillary Clinton.
Well, I think Trump answered that question himself. He straight up said if he loses, he will run as an independent. And Rand Paul wasted no time at all. He did not tolerate a second of this. And he called out Trump on his little tantrum, and he pointed out that Trump is attempting to hold the Republican Party and the American people hostage.
Well, Rand Paul also called out Trump on how he donates to plenty of Democrat candidates. So I think he brought up a lot of valid points here during just the first debate in the opening 5 minutes. And, it definitely gives us a lot to think about. Who is Donald Trump? But also Marco Rubio, his mic did get cut out and you couldn't hear him. But apparently, when I was watching debate coverage, he apparently also said that...
Not me. Not me. But you're welcome to give me a check, Donald, if you'd like.
Many of them.
Actually, to be clear,
That's
he
right.
supported Charlie Crist.
Not much.
Hey, Charlie,
but I have...
Donald.
Trump donated to Charlie Crist, who was the Democrat running for governor against Rick Scott in Florida.
It's clear that the Republican Party can't trust Trump, and I think that's a clear sign that the American people cannot trust Trump. Rand Paul took a risk calling out Trump early, but I think it paid off, and that's why we're giving Rand Paul the first win of the night.
Fatality.
So the next fight was, again, Trump versus one of the moderators, Megyn Kelly of Fox News. And he basically got offended when she started asking him questions about different terms that he's used to call women over the years, including when he was on his show, The Apprentice.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't.
Thank you.
For the record, it was well beyond Rosie O'Donnell.
Yes, I'm sure it was.
It's clear that Megyn Kelly is and never was Donald Trump's #1 supporter.
And I think Megyn Kelly even brought up some good points. I mean, a lot of people are angry at her for political correctness as a way to get at Donald Trump, but he's used some pretty harsh terms over the years to describe different types of women. I mean, I'm not one for the PC police and political correctness, but I think there's a certain type of class that if you're going to run for president, the highest office in the U.S., you have to have a certain type of class for that.
Oh, Donald Trump definitely blurred the lines between standing up to political correctness and just being a sexist bigot. He on multiple occasions has said and tweeted offensive things to women, and he's just trying to play it off as standing up to political correctness, but it's not further from the truth.
Well, did you see that after the debate, he tweeted at Megyn Kelly and called her a bimbo?
Yeah, there's a series of tweets he had.
Yeah, he just went off on the whole entire Fox moderator panel.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear that Megyn Kelly has never liked Trump, but you can see why. He's kind of taken it upon himself to wage war on women as a whole. When confronted on sexist comments, Donald Trump initially tried to get out of it by playing off as a joke, saying, "Oh, I only make fun of Rosie O'Donnell." And, I mean, I guess that's kind of funny, but he tried to dodge the question. And then, after that, he just outright denied the claims that he had ever said anything about other women. And then, when Kelly called him out on that, he blamed it on political correctness, and when that didn't work either, he kind of just blew off the question, and that's 4 dodges in 3 seconds.
Yeah, I think Kelly brought up a good point when she brought up that Trump told the one girl on The Apprentice that she'd be much prettier on her knees. Like that is not who I want representing me. Someone who just like flagrantly goes out and makes these crude statements.
Trump clearly doesn't know the difference between political correctness and being a bigot, and for that reason, it seems like Megyn Kelly should have won this fight, but in reality, it seems that a lot of people are taking Trump's side. So I'm going to call this one a toss-up.
You're fired.
This next one might seem like a lighthearted jab, but in reality, it more or less spoke a lot of truth about the Fox debate as a whole.
So although this may not have been a fiery debate between two candidates, I thought Ben Carson brought up a great point when he basically told the Fox moderators that he thought that they forgot about him out there, because the moderators were famous for just glossing over certain candidates and only asking, in my opinion, Donald Trump, Jeb Bush, and even Marco Rubio. They seem to be getting the bulk of the questions, and they left the other 7 or so candidates kind of just out in the midst, and they were fighting for airtime. I mean, when you look at the released talking times that each candidate got, Donald Trump had 11 minutes, and Rand Paul was in last with 4.5. So I don't know. I mean, you're a moderator. Your job is to equally allocate the time to each candidate. And those, obviously, some are going to be uneven, and someone's going to have a couple more minutes. But when you have one person getting 6.5 more minutes than somebody else, I mean, these guys running for president, they need all the media attention they can possibly get so that the viewers can make a choice.
Yeah, it seems like Fox really did a good job shutting out Paul, Cruz, and Carson. And Ben Carson was right. I didn't think I was going to get another question. And he clearly didn't, because despite outbursts, Rand Paul still came in last with talking time. Can you imagine how little time he would have got if he never...
And you know what? For the little time he had, he's still not in last in the polls. So even though that he got the lowest amount of talking time, his message actually did resonate with a decent amount of the voters. I think, if his poll numbers can rise, then he'll get much more time, and maybe that'll help him out.
While Carson did stand up for those left behind, the fact of the matter is, the moderators did successfully silence those who did not agree with them. And for that reason, the moderators won this round.
Well, it's clear that the moderators picked the candidates who most closely reflect Fox's views, and that's why I think Jeb Bush and even, I guess, Donald Trump... Well, Donald Trump's more of a controversy waiting to happen with whatever he says, because he's such a loose cannon. So I think that definitely brought up... Him being in the debate brought more attention to the debate and the viewing. But I think Jeb Bush got a ton of questions because he most closely reflects Fox's agenda and the agenda of Rupert Murdoch, the owner of Fox. And, you see the guys, the actual conservatives, or, even someone who is somewhat of a libertarian, like Rand Paul, they're not getting... They got the least amount of time. Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, these guys like these... They got not much time at all. Well, the last and probably the most fiery debate was over national security and the NSA collecting their phone records, and that was between Kentucky Senator Rand Paul and New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, and they pretty much went at it and even got a little personal.
And I'm proud of standing for the Bill of Rights, and I will continue to stand for the Bill of Rights.
And, that's a completely ridiculous answer. I want to collect more records from terrorists, but less records from other people. How are you supposed to know, Megyn?
Use the Fourth Amendment. Get a warrant.
Let me tell you something.
Get a judge to sign a warrant.
Senator.
Wait, Governor Christie, make your point.
Listen, Senator, when you're sitting in a subcommittee just blowing hot air about this, you can say things like that. When you're responsible for protecting the lives of the American people, then what you need to do is to make sure that you use the system the way it's supposed to work.
Here's the problem, Governor. You fundamentally misunderstand the Bill of Rights. Every time you did a case, you got a warrant from a judge. I'm talking about searches without warrants, indiscriminately of all Americans' records, and that's what I fought to end. I don't trust President Obama with our records. I know you gave him a big hug, and if you want to give him a big hug again, go right ahead.
Christie openly attacked Rand Paul's anti-NSA stance and essentially implied that the Fourth Amendment is no longer practical, and that Rand's support of it is simply him, quote, blowing hot air.
Yeah, from a subcommittee.
Yeah.
I don't know, Christie's argument was just so... It was so ridiculous. And, I hate how these candidates now are starting, well, Christie most noticeably, they're starting to invoke the fear of 9/11 in order to basically increase security and sell people's freedoms.
Well, that's the Patriot Act in a nutshell.
Yeah, the Patriot Act and the NSA. This is not 2004 anymore. I mean, he basically went on a tangent of how, he was so affected by families of 9/11 victims. That's fine. But is that any reason to increase the scope of government when the FBI has reported that there have been zero terrorists captured by the NSA?
Since Bush took office, there's been 28 cases of terrorists stopped in the U.S. alone, and not a single case had anything to do with the NSA. They're both the combine of the TSA and the CIA.
Yet, the whole fear-mongering and just basically invoking 9/11 is what's scaring people, and I feel like Christie was politicizing it. And I think Rand Paul did a good job of saying how he supports the Bill of Rights. And, we fought a revolution over the Fourth Amendment and the issues that follow. So I think I'm giving Rand Paul the W with this one.
No matter who you are, it's never a good idea to openly mock the Bill of Rights, especially as a candidate and a Republican candidate, nevertheless. And then Christie went on to...
Well, I don't think he was necessarily mocking the Bill of Rights. He was more just disregarding it. And, I think that's... I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think that's the problem with a lot of Republican candidates. They say that they're for the Bill of Rights because they stand for the Second Amendment, but it seems like the Fourth Amendment and a lot of other ones are just going by the wayside.